Welcome to your second stimulus check update, stimulus package update, and stimulus news for Tuesday, November 10th. Yesterday we got some really good news regarding stimulus, regarding the country, the economy, stocks, and just getting back to normal life. However, this wasn't ultimately the best news for stimulus moving forward, or at least the stimulus negotiations as we know it. And I'll explain more on that in just a minute. We do have more news regarding Social Security and disability as well, and this could be good. This also could potentially be bad, so I want to address that in today's video as well. We also saw new reports come out. New reports on potential executive orders. And this could be big. There's some really good executive orders in the pipeline, in the works. But again, this is something that it's a report. Until we see the executive order signed, then it's just a report. It's just hearsay. But these could be big, and I want to explain what's in them. First, let's address the big news from yesterday. The big news, you probably heard about it, is that Pfizer came out yesterday and said that their COVID vaccine is 90% effective, and they are seeking the U.S. emergency use authorization before the end of November. This is big. We saw the stock market just jump. We saw people just excited. We saw news outlets reporting this all day long yesterday, saying that this was big, this is great, this is what the people in the United States needed, what the American people have been waiting for, what people across the world have been waiting for. But also, if approved by the end of November, they are saying that they could roll out roughly 50 million doses by the end of 2020, which means starting 2021, that means 25 million people would have already been vaccinated. That's huge. In addition to Pfizer, Dr. Anthony Fauci came out yesterday and stated that Moderna is right behind Pfizer in their vaccine trials as well, which means, and this is pretty much the exact same drug, but this means that's not only Pfizer that is coming out with their drug, their vaccine, Moderna is coming out with the exact same thing almost at the exact same time. So if both of them get the U.S. emergency use authorization before the end of this month, we could potentially see 50, 60 million people vaccinated by the end of 2020. That's huge. This will get the economy back on track. And this is really good news for the economy. This definitely helped the stock market yesterday, like I said. This also has many experts moving up the timeline as far as when we can get back to normal life. Many people were saying it wouldn't happen till late 2021. Now, they're saying this could happen somewhere in the summer of 2021, if not a little bit earlier. This could potentially happen in maybe May or June, which would really be exciting news, would be great for the economy. But, as always, there is a downside. There is a but. It's a big but. This vaccine being so close, it could mean less stimulus for the American people. We've already heard Mitch Mcconnell say that we do not need a comprehensive stimulus package because we saw the jobs report come out and we were doing better than expected. We have an unemployment rate of 6.9%. So Mitch McConnell said because of, in lieu of that, those facts, we don't need a big package. We just need a targeted stimulus package to address the specific issues, and we'll get through this. So this is not the best news for stimulus, but it's the best news for the economy, for the American people, and just health in general. Now, we have even heard from Democrat Ro Khanna about whether or not Nancy Pelosi should have taken taken that $1.9 trillion stimulus package that President Trump offered about a week ago. We heard from Ro Khanna. We've also heard from Mitch McConnell. We've heard from Nancy Pelosi saying she does not want a $500 billion stimulus package. That doesn't interest her at all. Mitch McConnell is on the complete opposite spectrum, saying that's what we need. This is what we're going to do. As of right now, Nancy Pelosi does not hold much power. She pretty much lost all her leverage, all her power, as soon as the election was over. Now, honestly, the election's still not over. They're counting votes. There's going to be a contested election. They're going to do recounts, and there's going to be lawsuits. But, in all honesty, the voting is over. People have already said who's going to win. So as of right now, that's how we're going forward. Ro Khanna, though, he said, if we get 1.8 trillion, I think we would definitely want to make the deal. And it's going to be catastrophic if we don't. Well, it already is pretty much a disaster for Nancy Pelosi and Democrats, because you had $1.9 trillion. That's what we had. We had 1.9 trillion. And Nancy Pelosi said, no, it's not good enough. I think it was better than good enough. It would have been great for the economy and the American people. Ro Khanna also went on to say, our failure, our collective failure to get that stimulus could prove to be a big mistake in American history. Honestly, many experts believed that Democrats would never, and I repeat, never, get such a large stimulus package. And they will never get that large of a stimulus package ever again. They made the mistake turning down $1.9 trillion, and somebody needs to pay for it. They're saying, right now, Nancy Pelosi is the one person at fault. It was her job to get stimulus for the American people, and she let everybody down. But the problem now is that President Trump does not seem to want to negotiate a stimulus package anymore. He's off golfing. We haven't really heard from him. Instead, Mitch McConnell has taken up the stimulus negotiations, which means it's going to be less stimulus. It's going to be target stimulus. It won't be a comprehensive package like Democrats and Nancy Pelosi really wanted. This will most likely only lead to more executive orders from Joe Biden once he takes office. This is what experts are saying, and this is also what the Biden administration is saying. We have not heard from President Trump for a little while on anything other than legal matters. I personally, I was at least hoping to hear from President Trump regarding the virus, the economy, stock market, the vaccines, something. But all we heard was him talk and him tweet. That's pretty much it. We've never seen him. We haven't he hasn't came out since the day or two after the election. And I get it. Okay? But the problem is, we the American people want to hear it from our current leader, President Trump. But all we heard yesterday was he said this on Twitter. As I have long said, Pfizer and the others would only announce a vaccine after the election because they didn't have the courage to do it before. Likewise, the US FDA should have announced it earlier, not for political purposes, but to save lives. In all fairness, President Trump did say that Pfizer, Moderna, other drug manufacturers would not come out and say they have a vaccine that's readily available to the masses anytime before the election. He already said they wouldn't do that, and this was weeks, even months ago, that they were not going to do that. They were going to wait till after the election, and then they're going to come out and say it. This is exactly what he said. This is exactly what he predicted. But in fairness, when he said the US FDA should have announced it earlier, not for political purposes, but to save lives, an announcement would not save any lives. It wouldn't do a thing. So in that aspect, what he said at the end of his tweet is false. But should they have came out for political purposes? For him, I guess, yes, they could have. But honestly, even now at 90%, and they're a couple weeks away from the U.S. Emergency use authorization, they probably should have continued to wait. Because that's right now, it's still not a done deal. We still don't know if they're going to get this or not. So right now, again, we wait and see. But now for some more good news. Reports out yesterday are stating that Joe Biden has a handful of executive orders or executive actions that he plans to take on day one of being in office. This is good news. This is really good news. Why? Because we're about 71 days away from Joe Biden taking office. I remember doing the countdown to the election, 65 days, 60 days, 45 days, 30 days, 10 days, 2 days, whatever. I remember doing that countdown. And the closer we got to the election, the more excited everybody seemed to be. I think the closer we get to Inauguration Day, the more excited people are going to be. So, here are some of the executive actions that Joe Biden plans to do on day one of being in office. First, it's up to $50,000 in federal student loan forgiveness. This is big. This is really big. Because I remember when Nancy Pelosi was talking about a $10,000 federal student loan forgiveness program. And I thought that was great, but the average student debt is like $35,000. So $10,000 would have been helpful, would have been a drop in the bucket, but it still would have been helpful. Up to $50,000 means the majority of people that have student loan debt will get their entire loan forgiven. So this is something that could happen. Also, another executive order that could be done that Joe Biden is looking at is mortgage forbearance for all of 2021. This is another big deal because as of right now, there is really nothing for other than mortgage forbearance. There's no mortgage assistance. There's some in some small aspects, but there's really not much there. So if you're a homeowner and you are not working, you're getting behind on your mortgage, currently there's mortgage forbearance for 3 month periods at a time up to 1 year. A lot of people are going to run out of mortgage forbearance somewhere in the middle of 2021. So because of that, to push it back to all of 2021 and extend it for an additional 5 to 6 months would really help out many people. Also, the rental assistance or eviction moratorium through 2021. This is one of those ones that rental assistance would be great for a lot of people. We're billions and billions of dollars behind in rent, and that would be devastating if there's no rental assistance. Mitch MCConnell does not have any rental assistance in his stimulus packages. It's not there, and it never will be. As far as an eviction moratorium, though, that looks more likely than rental assistance, and an eviction moratorium would be great for renters that are currently behind on rent, but there needs to be more of a strict guideline there because I know a lot of people are telling their landlords that I just can't pay rent, I'm not working as many hours. However, they're still working just as many hours, but they're just trying to get away from not paying. And granted, not everybody's doing that, but there's a lot of people doing that. And that's one of the things is as a landlord, you are guaranteed to get your rent payments. It might be the end of 2021, but you will still get it, hopefully. But that is a possibility. And it's possibly even more executive orders as well. This report doesn't say exactly how many, it just says a handful. But we know Joe Biden does have a bunch of things in the works. He's currently trying to put together his cabinet. He's trying to do a lot of different things, get his plan in place, so on day one, being in the office, he can hit the ground running. At least that's the plan. Right now, we know that an executive order would be the best thing for everybody. President Trump could still do an executive order for many things, but as of right now, all reports are indicating that he just isn't willing to do so. He wants to contest the election. He wants to prove that Democrats won this election illegally, through fraud, through wrongdoing. That's what he wants. Mitch MCConnell, as of right now, might be the only way to get anything done. And the hard part is Mitch MCConnell might make negotiations more difficult as we get closer to Joe Biden getting in office. So executive orders right now would be the only guarantee, whether it's through President Trump or through President Biden when he does finally take office. Two executive orders that we know couldn't happen though. And this is one of the things that I get asked all the time. And there's a new report that's stating why this can't happen. So two different executive orders that we know can't happen based on this report is number one is stimulus checks. And the second one is a raise in Social Security benefits. I stated yesterday, if you didn't watch the video yesterday, I explained yesterday how one of the things that Joe Biden wants to do in a bill is to raise Social Security benefits by $200 per month. Just a flat $200. Now, that's getting a lot of pushback. Republicans are not for a raise in Social Security benefits monthly. They would consider, based on reports, they would consider a slight raise, but through a percentage, not a dollar amount. And I say this because some people get, let's say, $1,800 a month in their Social Security check, when others might only get $600, $700, $800. So because of that disparity in numbers, because of that income disparity, that's what Republicans don't want. Is they don't want somebody getting a $200 bonus every single month, so it takes them from $800 to $1,000, when somebody that gets $1,800 a month is going from $1,800 up to $2,000. So the percentage, the difference, is quite a big difference. And I guess that's not what they want. However, the two things that we can't have is stimulus checks and Social Security. Stimulus checks and Social Security, a Social Security increase can't happen because reports indicate it can't be a direct payment without a proper underlying reason. We're in a pandemic. I personally believe during a state of emergency, a president should be able to do an executive order for stimulus checks, a Social Security increase. You can do it for federal unemployment benefits. Why can't you do it for Social Security? It just makes no sense to me personally. Now, if you guys are on Social Security, you are getting a Social Security check, your disability check, railroad retirement, whatever. If you are on a fixed income, let me know down in the comment section below. How much do you get per month after you have to pay your mandatory expenses? What do you get? What is your take-home pay? I want to know that, because right now I think the take-home pay for most people on Social Security is far less than most of us even realize. Now, what either president could do for people on Social Security and disability is to work with Congress to pass a bill. Obviously, this is a no-brainer. This is what they've been trying to do all along. It's just too difficult. However, reports indicate, or experts indicate that right now the best thing to do is for either president to work with Congress to pass a bill that adequately addresses the rise in drug costs and the lack of increases in Social Security income per year. Currently, GoodRx states that drug prices have gone up over 3% since early 2020. Yet, the cost of living adjustment, COLA, for 2021 will only go up 1.3%. So even though we have figures, we have facts, statistics on how much drug prices have gone up this year alone, COLA is only going to go up less than half of that amount, which makes absolutely no sense. So passing a bill to address these ever-widening numbers is a must. It needs to be done, and many experts believe that this is one of the top priorities for Joe Biden once he does get in office. But let's address one of the other priorities that Joe Biden currently has. That is getting the unemployed back to work. This is what President Trump has been wanting to do. This is what Mitch MCConnell wants to do. This is what Nancy Pelosi wants to do. We all know opening up schools, getting the unemployed back to work is going to be the best thing for the economy. It truly is. Outside of a vaccine and getting rid of this pandemic, getting rid of this virus. But that's what Joe Biden wants to do. Joe Biden is all for providing the unemployed workers with a federal plus-up of $600 per week, which would come out to $2,400 per month. This is big. This is what many people on unemployment got. in the beginning of this pandemic, in April, May, June, July, August, beginning of August actually, this is what everybody was getting, $600 per week. And then President Trump did an executive order to extend that federal unemployment plus up to $300 per week for 6 weeks. So that's an additional $1,800 on top of the whatever people got for the months of being on unemployment, and that $600 per week plus up, in addition to their state unemployment benefits. This is what Joe Biden wants. He believes that he could do this for at least 3 more months and potentially extend the unemployment plus up, this federal unemployment bonus. He could extend it for as long as we are in this pandemic, as long as the unemployment rate is above 5%. So that is good news, because as of right now, many economists don't expect the United States unemployment rate to drop below 5% until possibly the end of 2021. Being that many jobs are still going away as we speak, this benefit, whether it's an executive order or it's a bill, this would be a good plan to help keep those on unemployment able to continue to pay their bills, pay their rent, and you just stay on their feet. Right now, we cannot look at the American people and say, oh, we need to do better, we need to save, we need to invest, and we need to do all this stuff, when most people right now cannot afford to pay their basic needs, their everyday expenses. And that's what is currently most important. Now, some people don't expect Joe Biden to be able to do everything that he wants to do. However, this is why Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer are doing what they can now to salvage the stimulus package and stimulus negotiations under the Trump administration. Experts are currently saying that right now is the best chance the American people have at getting the biggest stimulus package. What I can tell you is that President Trump currently has more power than Joe Biden, or currently has more power than what Joe Biden will with a Republican Senate. Mitch MCConnell is going to make Joe Biden's life, or the first probably year of his presidency, very difficult. He's not going to allow Joe Biden to just spend money willy-nilly, just throw money at problems. He's not going to allow that. Mitch MCConnell and the GOP are going to stick with the wait-and-see approach. Let's slow down. Let's figure out how we can provide targeted stimulus in certain areas that will really help out the economy in the most drastic way, and then let's wait and see what happens with the rest of the economy. That's the approach they're going in with. Whether it's right or wrong, whether it's good or bad, nobody knows. I can tell you we need more stimulus, so I think that's wrong. And waiting to see what parts of the economy struggle the most, and then we'll go and provide support there, that's just kicking the can down the road, delaying the inevitable. Let's give the people that truly need the money, let's give them the money. We need to do it. Why wait? So, like I said, I'm waiting to hear what President Trump has to say. Hopefully we hear from him today, tomorrow, sometime this week. That's all I'm asking. Let's hear from him. Let's see what he has to say. I want to hear from him about the stock market, stimulus, COVID, the economy, vaccines. Not really the election. I don't really care about the election anymore. I want to know about stimulus. Okay? So, as I know more, I promise I will come back and I will keep you updated on everything that's going on. Just want to thank you guys for watching today's stimulus update and stimulus package update. If you have any questions whatsoever, please ask your questions down in the comment section below. I'll be more than happy to answer them as quickly as I can. I get a lot of comments, so sometimes I can't answer everybody's question, but do me a favor, ask your questions and I'll do my best to answer them as quickly as possible. Thanks again for watching. Smash that thumbs up button if you enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you guys on the next one.